Alright, welcome back. It's been a while since I made a video, and today we're going to be talking about some angles. First, we're going to talk about complementary and supplementary angles, and then the last thing we're going to do is talk about vertical angles. So I've got 6 problems to do with you guys to kind of walk you through those 3 topics to help you guys do your own work. So let's start off with complementary angles. These are angles that add to 90 degrees. Supplementary angles being angles that add to 180 degrees. Let's jump into complementary angles first. I've got an example here ready to go. We can see that this black angle is 90 degrees, and the way that we know it's 90 degrees is it has that little box in the corner of it. That box represents a right angle. That's what that does. Right angles or 90 degrees, same thing. So that's also known as a right angle. So we know this is a complementary angle situation, and we know that x and 17 should add to 90 degrees based on the definition of complementary angles. So x plus 17 should equal 90 degrees. And now we can solve this little equation we've set up to find our missing angle x. And all we got to do is subtract 17 degrees from both sides. And so then that means that our answer is 73 degrees. This missing angle right here then is 73 degrees. So complementary angles, angles that add up to 90 degrees. It's possible to have 3 angles kind of packed in there. This example's got 2, and in fact the next example I've got has 2 angles, because that's usually what you're going to be dealing with, is 2 angles adding to 90 degrees, but it's possible to have a third angle in there, and again, just all 3 of those angles would add to 90 degrees. So let's do another quick example of complementary angles. Again, we know it's complementary because it's got that square drawn in the corner of it. So I know that's a right angle. I know it's supposed to be a total of 90 degrees. So if I want to find this missing angle, which I didn't label, let's call it angle Y. 36 plus y should be equal to 90 degrees. And we solve this just like we solve any other equation. We do the opposite to get the variable alone. Here that's a positive 36, so I subtract 36 from both sides. And then I can get my answer by doing 90 minus 36, which is 50, oops, hit the wrong thing there, 54 degrees. And that would be my answer for y. Oops, drew that line a little too far in there for my answer y. I hope this kind of makes sense. Complementary angles, not too bad. I think the biggest mistake students make is confusing the 2 words complementary and supplementary. Unfortunately, I don't have a good mechanism for you to remember that complementary goes with 90 degrees and supplementary goes with 180. But maybe a few examples will help you out. So here we go. Here's supplementary angles now. And supplementary angles are 180 degrees. So this full thing needs to be 180 degrees, which is also a straight line. So we have this straight line split into an angle, and those 2 angles need to add to 180 degrees. So B, the angle B, plus that 47 degree angle should equal 180 degrees. And now same thing, solving equations, I got to do the opposite to get the variable alone. So I'm going to subtract 47 from both sides, and I get 180 minus 47, which is 133 degrees. 133 degrees. And so that is what angle B is right in there. We'll do another example of this. Again, it's possible to have more than 2 angles here, but most of the homework you're going to see is going to be just 2 angles adding together to be 90 degrees for complementary angles, or 2 angles adding together for 180 degrees being supplementary. So again, these 2 angles make 180 degrees, form that straight line. So I need A plus 118 degrees to equal 180 degrees. And to get that variable alone, I do the opposite of adding 118 to a. So we're going to subtract 118 from both sides. Those two angles on the left cancel out, leaving me a. And now 180 minus 118 is 62 degrees. And that's my answer for that angle in there, angle A. Oh, but I just did all of that behind my own picture. So hopefully you could see that. Whoops. Well, I'm going to keep going, watch this video in a little bit, and hopefully I don't have to redo it. Moving on to now what are called vertical angles. Vertical angles happen when two lines intersect. So we're gonna have two lines. Here we have line 1 intersecting with line 2 at this point. And when two lines intersect, it forms four angles. One of the angles we have labeled already as 24 degrees, another one's A, another one's labeled B, and that fourth angle we don't have labeled, but we could stick a label in there, we could call it C. The interesting thing that happens with vertical angles is we get a bunch of pairs of supplementary angles, and we can use that to solve for each angle, but then this also creates some congruent angles, which we can use then, knowing the congruent angles, to solve things even faster. So first I'm going to show you that these two angles, 24 degrees and angle A, form a straight line L2. So those two things, A plus 24 degrees, should equal 180 degrees. Because they're supplementary, they form that straight line. So 180 minus the 24 tells me that A is equal to 156 degrees. So now I know what A is. A is 156 in there. 156 degrees. And I can use that to solve for now B, because B and A are supplementary to make that line L1 right here. B and A together make line 1, make that 180 degrees. So angle B plus 156 degrees, which I know came from knowing the other angle was 24, should equal 180 degrees. And now I subtract 156 from both sides, and now that means that B is equal to 24 degrees. 24 degrees. And I could keep going like this, and I could find angle C by doing supplementary angles with either the original 24 degrees or the B that we just found, and you'll find that C is also 156 degrees. This relationship where we have opposite sides of two intersected lines creating congruent angles, that's what vertical angles are. So here, angle A and C are congruent. By vertical angles, they're on opposite sides of intersecting lines. And then, also as we've saw, angle B and what's labeled as 24 degrees are also congruent. They both measure 24 degrees. This happens every time two lines intersect. We get this relationship where the opposite angles are congruent with each other. And so we can use that quickly to find missing angles, like we're about to do in this next problem. So, looking at this problem, I see that Y is on the opposite side of that 35 degrees. So Y is also 35 degrees by vertical angles. Because the 35 degrees and Y are vertical angles with each other, they have to be congruent. And I can use supplementary angles to find that missing angle X. So because these two form this perfect straight line right there, that means that 35 degrees plus X should equal 180 degrees. And so I'm going to subtract 35 degrees from both sides. And so then I know X is equal to 180 minus 35, which is 145 degrees. So that is that missing angle X, but it's also this other unlabeled angle down here. This is also 145 degrees down in there. So vertical angles always opposite each other over the point of intersection between two straight lines. I hope that helps. Have a great day.